Okay, let's unpack this. We often talk about the concept of, the crime of the century.
It's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot.
It really does.
Yeah.
You've got the Lindbergh baby back in the 30s.
A classic example.
You've got the Manson family in the 60s. OJ in the 90s, obviously.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
if you are a millennial, or, even Gen Z, if you were glued to Twitter back when it was still Twitter in 2014, there's really only one story that fits that bill.
Oh, absolutely. It's the one that just completely dominated the cultural conversation.
It's the story that broke the internet before we really, truly understood what breaking the internet even meant.
You are talking, of course, about the abduction of Josephine Reynolds.
The Devlin baby.
The Devlin baby.
Exactly. It is a case that has absolutely everything. It's got Hollywood glamour. It's got this deep, tragic mystery.
And let's be honest, police incompetence on a truly, truly staggering scale.
Staggering is the word for it. And right at the center of it all, you have Leila Devlin. She was the it girl. She was, the American dream personified.
She really was.
And then literally overnight, she became the most hated woman in America.
Yeah.
And she just vanished. Poof. Gone.
Which is usually where these stories end, right? The tragic figure fades into obscurity. They live out their days in the shadow of their trauma.
Maybe they write a tell-all memoir 10, 15 years later.
Exactly. But that is not what happened here. Not even close.
No. And here's where it gets really interesting for this deep dive. Because Leila Devlin didn't just come back to Los Angeles to launch a skincare brand, although, amazingly, she did do that.
Which is a whole story in itself.
It is. But according to our sources, and we're talking biographies, unauthorized oral histories, even some leaked police reports, she came back with a completely different energy. We are looking at a story that shifts from this heartbreaking tragedy into something much darker.
It's like the whole genre of the story just pivots on a dime. It stops being a true crime tragedy.
And it starts becoming a revenge thriller.
Yes. It's about vigilantism. It's about a grieving mother transforming into a calculated, methodical killer.
And it raises this fascinating question, about the limits of grief and absolute failure of justice.
It really does. When the system completely collapses around you, what do? Do you collapse with it? Do you just lay down and die?
Or do you become something else entirely?
Exactly. The sources we have paint this incredible picture of a woman who just decided that if the world wasn't going to give her justice, she was going to carve it out herself.
With a box cutter, if necessary.
With a box cutter, if necessary.
So let's go back. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Before the blood, before the kidnapping, before she was a household name. We really need to understand who Leila Devlin was before the world broke her.
Because her rise is just as unlikely as her fall.
It really is. In the source material, there's this heavy, heavy emphasis on the fact that Leila Devlin was never supposed to be famous. She wasn't a Nepo baby.
Right. She wasn't manufactured in a Disney lab. She didn't have, parents with connections at CAA who could pull strings.
Exactly. And I think that's such a crucial distinction. If you look at her early biography, she was born in 1985, Chelsea, Massachusetts.
This is deep blue-collar territory.
It's not the Hollywood Hills. Her mom, Denise, is a nurse. Dad, Mark, is an electrician. This is scrape knees and snipe shovels kind of stuff.
And that background, it really sets the stage for everything that comes later. The sources paint her as this incredibly grounded, almost painfully empathetic kid. There's that one anecdote that really stuck with me from the oral history, the squirrel story. Do you remember that?
Oh, the baby squirrels. I have that highlighted right here. It's such a specific, telling image.
It's vital. She's like, 8 years old? She finds a nest of squirrels in the basement because a mother squirrel had been hit by a car or something awful.
Most kids would run or maybe tell their dad to call an exterminator.
Right. Not Leila. She sets up this makeshift hospital for them in the basement. She's nursing them with eyedroppers. She has this pathological need to save things.
And pathological is the right word because it stems from trauma, doesn't it? It's not just that she was a sweet, animal-loving kid. She was being conditioned for this role.
It does, and this is the first major key to her psychology. Her mother, Denise, dies of breast cancer when Leila is still really young, around 9 or 10.
That is just a seismic event for any child.
Huge. But the fallout from that's where the Devlin shadow, as her dad calls it, really begins.
This is about her father, Mark.
Mark Devlin. He didn't just grieve, he disintegrated. He descends into this severe, functional, then very non-functional alcoholism, and suddenly 10-year-old Leila isn't the daughter anymore.
She's the caretaker.
She's the adult. It's the parentification of a child. We see this in so many psychological profiles of people who end up in these high-stress careers later on.
They're used to chaos.
They're used to being the only sober person in the room, literally. The sources say she's physically picking her father up from bars in Chelsea. She's cleaning him up when he's sick. She's managing his mercurial drunken moods.
So when we ask later, how did she handle the stress of the trial? Or how did she survive that media circus?
She had been training for crisis management since she was in the 4th grade. She learned to be the calm center of a hurricane before she even hit puberty.
God, that's so heavy. And there's that quote from her dad later on. It gave me chills when I first read it. He says to her, "We get bad genes. One day you'll find it, and the shadow will cross through you."
It sounds like a line from a horror movie, doesn't it? Like something out of a Stephen King novel.
It really does.
But he was talking about addiction. He was talking about that genetic predisposition to self-destruction, or maybe rage. I don't think either of them realized just how prophetic that was going to be.
But at the time, she was just trying to survive. She ends up at UMass Amherst on a scholarship, studying veterinary medicine.
She wants to be a marine biologist.
Exactly. She has zero interest in fame. She wants to look at slides under a microscope and be left alone.
Which, ironically, is exactly why fame found her. It's the classic reluctant star narrative, isn't it?
Totally. The industry loves people who don't seem to want to be there.
So she's at an open casting call in Boston, and she's not even there for herself. She's there to support her roommate, Viv Baker.
Good old Viv.
Viv was the one who actually wanted to be a star. Leela is literally just waiting in the parking lot, smoking a cigarette, probably looking bored and annoyed.
And that's when the director, Susan Friedland, spots her.
And Friedland was a massive deal at the time. She was doing all that gritty neorealism stuff, very respected.
Right. And Friedland was looking for a lead for her movie Too Many Mornings.
And get this, the script is about a girl on a lobster boat dealing with an addict father.
Talk about art imitating life. It's almost too perfect.
It's insane. Friedland sees Leela sloking on the curb, sees that sort of weary exhaustion in her eyes, and just thinks, that's her, that's the girl.
But Leela initially turns it down. She's like, "No thanks, I'm a scientist."
She did. But Friedland is persistent, and she convinces her, largely because Leela needed the money for research internships. She viewed acting as a temp job.
I'll do this one movie, pay for my semester, and then I'm going back to the lab.
That was the plan. But the performance, I mean, if you've seen Too Many Mornings, wasn't really acting.
Yeah, it was a documentary of her own trauma.
She was just existing on screen, channeling all that pain and frustration with her father, all those nights picking him up from the bar. It catapulted her to stardom instantly. Critics went absolutely wild for her.
But even on set, she was the anti-star. The sources say she'd be in the hair and makeup chair doing biology homework.
Refused to play the game.
But the temp job became the career. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. And then she meets Aiden Reynolds. Now, Aiden is the total opposite of Leela in almost every single way.
He is. He's a theater kid. He's an extrovert. He has that classic Boston boy charm. The kind of guy who can talk his way out of a speeding ticket and make the cop laugh while doing it.
Right. He was on the fast track to becoming a Marvel superhero.
And they meet in New York. They bond over their Massachusetts roots, probably arguing about Dunkin' Donuts or something. And they become this golden couple.
But even their wedding was anti-Hollywood. This wasn't some huge destination wedding in Lake Como.
No, it was City Hall, jeans and T-shirts. Leela refused to do the big production. She hated the red carpets. She just wanted her normal life.
That's the real tragedy of it, isn't it? She fought so hard to maintain this little bubble of normalcy inside this completely insane industry.
And for a while, it actually worked. And then in 2011, they have a daughter, Josephine.
Josie.
And this part of her story is tough to read because it's just so raw and honest.
You're talking about the postpartum depression.
The severe postpartum depression. And we're not just talking baby blues here. She described it as feeling like a ghost haunting her own child.
That phrase it sticks with me. A ghost haunting her own child. So bleak.
She said she wouldn't even hold the baby at first because she was terrified she'd break her. She thought she was infected with her father's bad genes, that shadow he talked about.
But she got help.
She did. She went on medication. And she spoke publicly about it, which at the time was still pretty rare.
And it actually endeared her to the public even more, didn't it?
It did. She became this symbol of resilience, America's sweetheart, who overcame the darkness. She fought her demons and won.
She completely rebuilt herself around that little girl. Josie became her anchor. Leela even took a step back from acting to be a full-time, hands-on mom, painting murals of sea creatures in the nursery.
Everything seemed perfect. They were the perfect family in the perfect Bel Air mansion.
Until the night of March 5, 2014.
The night everything changed.
Okay, let's walk through this timeline because the specifics are infuriating. And infuriating is, putting it mildly. This is a masterclass in how not to handle a crisis.
A masterclass in failure at every single level.
It starts on a rainy night in LA. Aiden is out watching a Red Sox game at a sports bar with some friends.
And Leela goes out for a bachelorette party. Now, this is a rare night out for her. She's been a total hermit. She's been in full mom mode for years.
But she goes out, she lets her hair down, she gets drunk, and this is the detail that would come back to haunt her. She does cocaine.
The one mistake.
The one mistake. She gets home around 11:00 DM. The alarm is off. Aiden forgot to set it when he left.
Another small mistake with huge consequences.
She assumes Josie is asleep. She goes to bed. But at 5 a.m., she wakes up, does that parent check thing, goes into the nursery, and it's empty.
Just picture that moment. The silence. The dawning horror.
The window is open, there are ladder impressions in the mud outside, and there is a ransom note on the changing table.
Leela calls 911. And here is where the system begins to fail Leela Devlin in the most spectacular fashion imaginable.
The police arrive. You've got Detective John Carmichael and the rookie, Nick Fox.
Right. Carmichael is the veteran, the seen-it-all guy who is maybe a little burned out, a little jaded.
And Nick Fox is the aggressive rookie who thinks he's in a cop movie.
And they botch the crime scene.
Yeah.
Immediately.
In the reports, it mentions the gloves. Can you explain why that specific detail is so damning?
It's forensics 101.
Yeah.
It's the most basic thing. You have a scene where the perpetrator touched the windowsill, the crib rail, maybe the ladder outside.
Prime spots for fingerprints or DNA.
Exactly. And Detective Fox enters the nursery without putting on fresh PPE, personal protective equipment. He touches the door frame. He touches the crib rail.
So he's essentially just overwriting the kidnapper's fingerprints with his own?
Worse, he's introducing what they call transfer DNA. He's contaminating the entire scene. But honestly, the bigger issue was the perimeter. We have to remember, this is Los Angeles. The paparazzi scanners pick up the 911 call. By 5:45 a.m., you have news vans on the lawn.
And the police didn't tape it off.
Not fast enough. The mud outside the window, where the ladder impressions were,
The most crucial piece of physical evidence.
trampled by photographers, by other cops who weren't careful, by curious neighbors. That mud was the only physical link to the intruder's shoe size or brand, and it was gone in 20 minutes. It was a perfect storm of incompetence.
That is just unbelievable. It feels like they weren't looking for an intruder at all.
They weren't. And this is the tunnel vision theory that comes up again and again in the sources. Fox finds the cocaine residue on a little mirror on the table from the night before.
Her one mistake.
He sees a mother who is hysterical, maybe still coming down from a high. And he decides right then and there, she did it. The mother did it.
The Coke Mom narrative was born in that moment.
Precisely. And once they decided she was the primary suspect, preserving the evidence of an actual intruder became a secondary priority to them.
They were building a case against Leela, not hunting for a kidnapper.
They saw the ransom note, which was oddly addressed only to Leela using her maiden name, Mrs. Devlin, and they thought, see, she wrote this to herself?
And the media. Oh my God, the media. This is the era of the rise of the ruthless gossip blogs. And this is where we meet Nico DeLuca and his site, White Smiles, Bright Lights.
Nico DeLuca. He is the villain of the first act, essentially. He's the one who broke the story by buying photos from a paparazzo who trespassed on the property. He commodified this family's tragedy instantly.
But it wasn't just the blogs. It was the entire internet culture at the time. We saw the birth of the Devlin baby memes.
Memes about a kidnapped child. It's just sickening to think about.
There was this one Twitter user, QueefDiva69, and I apologize to our listeners for even having to say that name out loud in a serious analysis, but it's in the source material.
It's part of the story, as gross as it is.
That user turned the ransom note into a joke template. The internet just decided that Leela didn't grieve correctly.
There's that infamous moment where she attacks a paparazzo who flashes a camera in her face right after the kidnapping.
Right, she just screams, "Get the fuck off my property," and she lunges at him.
And instead of the public seeing a terrified, protective mother who is being harassed at the worst moment of her life, they saw Gone Girl. They saw a monster.
They analyzed her lack of tears and photos. It was a digital witch hunt.
It creates a feedback loop, doesn't it? The public hates her, so the police feel pressure to investigate her, which then leaks to the press, which makes the public hate her even more.
And all the while, the actual kidnapper is out there watching this whole circus unfold.
And the kidnapper sends a second note. This is the turning point. They want $10 million.
The police are still skeptical. They still think Leela is faking it, but Leela is desperate. She and Aiden decide to pay it, against police advice.
They have to. What else can they do? But their nanny, Lydia Novak, who had been fired or let go in the chaos, calls the cops.
Why?
Out of fear, I think. She thought Leela was being scammed, or maybe that Leela herself was dangerous and unhinged. She thought she was doing the right thing.
And this leads to the botched exchange. The police set up this whole stakeout at a 7-Eleven. The scene is so cinematic in the absolute worst way.
It's a disaster. Leela is there with the money. A van pulls up that matches the description. And this is the moment that just breaks me every time I read about it. An undercover officer, disguised as a homeless man, is watching from across the street.
And he thinks he sees a gun in the van.
He thinks he sees a gun. He panics.
Shoots.
He shoots at the van prematurely before any exchange happens.
He shoots at the van that might have the baby inside.
Exactly. Chaos just erupts. The van speeds off. Leela screams. I mean, she sees her last chance just disappearing down the road, and she starts chasing the van down the street on foot.
And then the officer tackles her.
He tackles her to stop her from running into traffic. And in a moment of just pure, unadulterated rage and despair, she punches the officer in the face.
He punches a cop.
She breaks his nose.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate expression of helplessness, right? The very people sworn to help her just scared away the only link she had to her daughter, and that was it. The van got away. The trail went cold.
3 months later, Lake Gregory. They find a body.
An infant's body. Badly burned. So badly burned that they couldn't get a confirmed DNA match, but the size and the age profile, it all matched Josie.
So Leela and Aiden had to accept it. They held a funeral.
But because of that lack of a perfect DNA match, the conspiracy theories never stopped. It became like the Princess Anastasia mystery. People on the internet were saying, is it really her?
But for Leela, she had to believe it was over.
She had to. The aftermath is just brutal. Leela and Aiden's marriage completely dissolves. Their shared grief just destroyed them from the inside out.
Aiden remarries a woman named Sonnet, has another daughter, and he becomes this beloved, respected Hollywood actor. He moves on. He gets a happy ending.
And Leela, she disappears. She goes to India. She just vanishes from the face of the earth.
For 10 years. Which brings us to part 2. Leela returns to Los Angeles, but she's not the same person who left.
Not at all. She's been in India doing meditation, supposedly trying to find peace, but the sources give us this incredible look inside her head. There is a gray creature of rage living inside her.
It's such a great metaphor. She describes this gray creature just curled up in her chest. She's constantly reciting these mantras. I find peace in my life. In my life, I make peace. But it feels like she's just trying to hold back a dam.
It's performative healing. She's going through the motions.
She's on a plane back to L.A., and she sits next to this aspiring actor named Peter. And he doesn't even recognize her.
Which must have been both a relief and kind of an insult.
Right. She's dyed her hair blonde. She looks older. She's gaunt. She tells him she's starting a skincare brand called Glob.
Glob. Such a strange, specific name. And with a lowercase g.
And the philosophy behind it is just wild. She tells people it's based on self-acceptance. The tagline is essentially, you're not ugly, you're just poor.
Laughs.
Yeah.
It's so aggressive. It's perfect satire of the entire goopified wellness industry.
It is. She's critiquing the industry while participating in it. She's basically saying, I'm going to sell you this expensive goop to put on your face, but let's be honest, it's not going to fix your soul.
Which is brutally honest.
But to launch this thing, she needs help. And she teams up with one of the most colorful characters in this entire saga, Sylvie Lightly.
Oh, Sylvie. I am obsessed with Sylvie. If Leela is the tragic, brooding heroine, Sylvie is the chaotic, neutral bard who just shows up to cause trouble.
She's this disgraced PR executive. Why was she disgraced again? The notes say something about a Tesla incident.
Allegedly. She ran over a crowd of people in her Tesla. Her defense was that it was a blind spot in the car's sensors.
As you do.
But yeah, she's blacklisted. And Sylvie is just chaotic energy personified. She drinks sparkling water exclusively and has very strong opinions on the different flavors. She wears rhinestone cowboy boots, crochet duck sweaters.
She sounds like a fever dream.
She is. But she's also fiercely loyal. There's this great detail where Sylvie is dealing with a crisis on a dog food commercial set because the incel dog tried to bite a woman.
Wait. The incel dog?
Laughs. Yes, apparently there was a dog actor that only bit women. That's the kind of absurdity Sylvie deals with on a daily basis. And she meets Leela, and she recognizes something in her. Two canceled women trying to claw their way back.
She has that great line. She tells her, exceptional people don't cower.
And they bond over being pariahs. They're the island of misfit toys.
But Leela isn't just back for skincare. That gray creaker is hungry. She starts looking up the names of the men who failed her. And the first one on the list is Nico DeLuca.
The blogger who turned her life into a meme.
She reaches out to him. She pretends she wants to clear the air for the sake of her new business. She goes to his office. And Nico, does he realize he's in any danger?
Not at all. He's arrogant. He thinks he's untouchable. He gives this smarmy pseudo-apology, calls himself a grisly little ketamine troll back in the day, like it was just a youthful phase.
Unbelievable.
But then he pitches her.
He pitches her. On what?
He invites her to be on his new podcast. He wants to do an episode about mothers who don't have children.
Oh, no. That is the moment. That's the snap.
The sheer unmitigated gall. He wants to exploit her trauma again. There's this piece of symbolism in the source material of a fat pigeon on a wire outside the window, just balancing there, precarious. And Leela, she just picks up a box cutter from his desk.
It's impulsive. It's not premeditated in the legal sense.
No, but emotionally it's been building for a decade.
She slits his throat.
She does. And I want to pause on her reaction here, because it's so psychologically disturbing and revealing. She doesn't scream. She doesn't panic. She describes the voice in her head, the constant anxiety, the grief, the self-hatred. It just finally shuts the fuck up.
She feels relief.
Total, absolute relief. And then she does something even stranger. She rocks him.
She holds his dying body and rocks him like a child.
It's this grotesque inversion of her motherhood. She's comforting the man she just killed. It's incredibly disturbing, but also deeply human in this really twisted way.
And then Sylvie walks in. This is the true test of their partnership. Most people would run. Most people would call the police.
Sylvie sees the dead body on the floor. She sees the blood everywhere. She sees her business partner holding a bloody box cutter. And her very first words are, "Where's his phone?"
Where's his phone? That is true ride or die energy. I mean, that is loyalty.
It's crisis management. She immediately pivots. Sylvie doesn't judge the morality of it. She manages the optics and the logistics. She helps Leela roll him up in the rug burrito, they call it.
Yeah.
And then, well, it gets pretty gruesome. They realize they have to prevent identification.
They pull his teeth.
Teeth and hands to stop dental records and fingerprints. It's brutal, but it cements their bond. They aren't just business partners anymore. They are co-conspirators. They are bound by blood.
Leah thinks this will be enough. She thinks killing the source of her public humiliation will fix her. She goes home, she washes the blood off. But the high, the relief, it fades.
It always does. Vigilantism is like an addiction. Relief is only temporary. She realizes Nico was just a symptom. He was Vulture, sure, but he didn't lose the baby.
The police did.
The police did. And specifically, Detective John Carmichael.
So she sets her sights on Carmichael. He's retired now. He's living in a decaying cabin up in Lake Arrowhead.
The setting here is so important. It's cold, it's isolated, it's a place people go to be forgotten. Leela drives up there, and she gets this omen on the road, an albino deer.
It stares at her.
Like nature itself is warning her, don't do this, turn back.
But she ignores it. She breaks into his cabin. She finds him just watching old 80s movies surrounded by trash. He's a broken man. And here's a big twist. Carmichael doesn't fight back.
He was waiting for her, wasn't he?
It seems so. He has a gun right next to him on the table, but he doesn't reach for it. He just looks at her and basically says, "I've been expecting you."
This confrontation is so pivotal. It's not an action scene, it's a confession.
It is. Carmichael admits everything. He says, "We fucked the crime scene." He admits they focused on her instead of the evidence. He has carried the guilt of Josie's loss for 10 years. It ruined his life, too.
But then he drops a bombshell.
The revelation.
He reveals that he actually found the real kidnapper years ago.
Wait, what? He found him and didn't arrest him.
He found him. A man named Arthur Allen. He was a gardener who worked in their neighborhood. He had a history of crimes against children. Carmichael tracked him down. He knew it was him, but he couldn't arrest him.
Why not?
Because of the botched investigation. The mud prints were gone. The DNA on the crib was contaminated. Carmichael had zero physical evidence because he and his team had destroyed it all. He knew who did it, but he could never prove it in a court of law.
That is the most tragic irony imaginable. The failure came full circle.
So he gives Leela the location. He writes it down on a notepad. Arthur Allen is living off the grid in a place called Slab City, under the name James Smith. Carmichael gives her this information as a gift.
And then?
And then he accepts his fate. He essentially commits suicide by proxy. He walks out to Leila's car and climbs into the trunk willingly.
That image, him just climbing into the trunk, and his last words to her are, "I hope this brings you what you're looking for."
Chilling. Leila shoots him. But this time, she notes that it brings a deep hollowness. It's not the relief she felt with Nico.
With Nico, it was about rage.
With Carmichael, who was just cleaning up a mess. Didn't bring Josie back. It just added another body to the count.
But now, now she has a name. Arthur Allen, the man who actually took her daughter, the monster at the end of the book.
This sets up the final leg of the journey. Leila goes back and tells Sylvie she's going to Slab City. And Sylvie, again, proves she is the friend of the century.
She insists on coming with her.
She says, "I can't let you go. He could kill you." She is all in.
And we learn a bit more about Sylvie here too, don't we? On the drive out there, the armor cracks a little bit.
It does. They're driving this beat-up Rent-A-Wreck van into the desert. And Sylvie confesses about her own secret past, a marriage to a man named David that fell apart in this really sad way. It humanizes her. Beneath the rhinestones and the weird sparkling water flavors, she's just as lonely and broken as Leila is.
They arrive at Slab City. And if you don't know what Slab City is, it's a real place. It's described as the last free place in America.
Which is a very romantic way of putting it. It's basically a decommissioned WWII Marine barracks in the middle of the Sonoran Desert. It's completely off the grid, no running water, no electricity, and crucially, no police.
It's a lawless grid of RVs and squatters. It's got real Mad Max vibes.
The atmosphere is just suffocating, the heat, the dust, and they see this truck that's covered in melted, mutilated baby doll heads.
It's a horror show, a real welcome to the end of the world. And that is where the sources leave us. Leila and Sylvie, standing in the dust, armed and dangerous, about to find the man who destroyed Leila's life.
A massive cliffhanger. But looking at this entire trajectory, from the girl in a lobster boat who wanted to study science to the woman with a gun in the desert, what does this tell us about the devil and baby phenomenon?
I think it tells us that the victim narrative is insufficient. It's too simple. Leila refused to be the eternal victim, but in refusing that role, she crossed a line into some very real moral darkness.
Her father warned her about the devil in shadow. Has she finally succumbed to it?
Or is she finally taking control? Is this what breaking the family cuss looks like?
Exactly. Is she the monster now? Or is she the only form of justice that exists in a world this broken?
It's that question of justice versus vengeance. And honestly, I don't know if I can blame her. If the world took my child, botched the investigation, and then laughed at me for a decade, I don't know what I would do.
And that is why this story sticks with us. It's so compelling because it forces you to ask that terrifying question, what would you do?
Exactly. We're going to leave it there for this deep dive. If you want to know how the hunt for Arthur Allen ends, and trust me, it is a wild ride, you'll have to check out the source material, a book called Cruelty Free.
It's worth the read. Just maybe don't start a skincare line immediately afterwards.
Solid advice. Until next time, stay curious and maybe check your sparkling water for mayonnaise.
Please don't do that. That was one time. It was a dare.
See you next time.